Welcome to Church of God Jesus Witnesses. Today I would like to share the Word of God through a study titled The Prophecy of Daniel and Revelation to help you understand who Satan is. The prophecy of Daniel and Revelation will help you to also understand the true identity of the Roman Catholic Church. Of all the topics in the Bible, the one about the prophecy of Daniel and Revelation is one of my absolute favorites. After the study, I was convinced that the Bible holds historical evidence that proves it to be true and that God surely exists. It was through the prophecy of Daniel and Revelation that I was able to understand the true identity of Satan.
Matthew chapter 7 verse 15 says, "Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves."
In Matthew chapter 7 verse 15, Jesus taught us to watch out for false prophets because they come to us in sheep's clothing. The sheep in the Bible represent the people of God. Simply speaking, Satan will act as a person of God to confuse us spiritually. Let's take a look at a few more verses in the Bible by turning to 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 13 through 15.
"For such people are false apostles, deceitful workers, masquerading as apostles of Christ. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. It is not surprising, then, if his servants also masquerade as servants of righteousness. Their end will be what their actions deserve."
Not only in the book of Matthew but also in 2 Corinthians, it is testified that Satan masquerades as an angel of light. It means that Satan acts like a person of God. The Bible also prophesied that Satan would set himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God.
In 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 3 and 4 it says, "Don't let anyone deceive you in any way. For that day will not come until the rebellion occurs and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. He will oppose and will exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped, so that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God."
Even though Satan may try to trick us, he can never trick God. It is through the Bible that God has allowed us to recognize Satan so that we may not be deceived by him. It is also through the prophecy of Daniel that God shows us the true identity of Satan. To further explain, the book of Daniel was written by Daniel when he received revelations from God and was captured in Babylon. Daniel chapter 2 is about the dream of King Nebuchadnezzar. King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, but he forgot it, and his mind was troubled by it. God showed Daniel the dream, and he let Daniel interpret the dream to King Nebuchadnezzar. Then, why did God let Daniel interpret the dream of King Nebuchadnezzar, who was a Gentile king, and have it recorded in the Bible? It was because the dream of King Nebuchadnezzar was not just any dream but one that foretells the future.
In Daniel chapter 2 verses 29 through 37, it says, "As your majesty was lying there, your mind turned to things to come, and the revealer of mysteries showed you what is going to happen. Your majesty looked, and there before you stood a large statue, an enormous, dazzling statue, awesome in appearance. The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze. This was the dream, and now we will interpret it to the king. Your majesty, you are the King of Kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory."
Daniel said that the head of gold represented King Nebuchadnezzar, who was the representative of the kingdom of Babylon. It meant that God linked the kingdom of Babylon to gold.
In Daniel chapter 2, verses 39 through 40, Daniel said, "After you, another kingdom will arise, inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron. For iron breaks and smashes everything, and as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others."
God linked the kingdom of Babylon to a head of gold and prophesied that kingdoms like silver, bronze, and iron would appear one after the other. Each kingdom, represented by different metals, has its own characteristics. The metals in the statue are arranged in such a way that the strength of the metal increases as you go down the statue. It means that superior nations military-wise will arise, defeating the inferior ones. Daniel realized that Babylon was represented by gold, But he did not know about the other 3 kingdoms to come in the future. Today, those of us who have learned world history can know of the other 3 kingdoms. Media-Persia, represented by silver, destroyed Babylon, represented by gold in history. In the same way, Greece, represented by bronze, destroyed Media-Persia, represented by silver. Rome, represented by iron, destroyed Greece, represented by bronze. God prophesied about the 4th kingdom, that is, Rome, in detail.
In Daniel chapter 2 verses 41, Daniel said, "Just as you saw that the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. Yet it will have some of the strength of iron in it, even as you saw iron mixed with clay."
To our surprise, just as the statue had 10 toes, Rome was divided into 10 kingdoms due to the mass migration of the Germanic tribes. The following are the original names of the 10 kingdoms: Lombard, Franks, Burgundians, Visigoths, Suevi, Alemanni, Anglo-Saxons, Vandals, Heruli, and Ostrogoths.
In Daniel chapter 2 verse 42 it says, "As the toes were partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle."
It was prophesied that some of the 10 kingdoms would be brittle, and indeed 3 of them were destroyed. Furthermore, God prophesied that the kingdoms would make efforts to be united, but to no avail.
Daniel chapter 2 verse 43, "And just as you saw the iron mixed with baked clay, so the people will be a mixture, and will not remain united, any more than iron mixes with clay."
Napoleon and Hitler tried hard to unite the separated kingdoms. The European Community and the European Union are also organizations established to combine Europe. But they always failed. God's prophecies are truly amazing. When I studied world history led by God as described in the book of Daniel 2, I was completely blown away by the prophecy. Though the book of Daniel was written 2,600 years ago, it foretold accurately what would happen for the following 1,000 years. I was filled with awe. However, this was just the beginning, brothers and sisters. Let's get into the true identity of the Roman Catholic Church revealed through the prophecy of Daniel, chapter 7, in our next video. God bless you and bye for now from Church of God Jesus Witnesses.